Ed Mylett is one of the fastest growing business personalities who Forbes also ranked one of the top 50 wealthiest people under 50. He went from being born in a middle class family, going broke and having to shower at a public pool, to becoming worth over $400 million. And today we're gonna look at my take on his top 10 rules of success.
Need motivation?
Watch the top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like na 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 na. For my top 10, top 10, na 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 na. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more, and you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Ed Mylett, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, serve others.
If you're feeling helpless right now, become helpful. You can't simultaneously be helpful and helpless. When you can get out of you, ironically, and this is a hard thing to swallow. I did a podcast on ego where I talked about this. If you're feeling anxiety, fear, helplessness, that's your ego.
Really?
Because it's about you. You've made it about you. If you can get out of you and serve someone else, one of the things Lewis is incredible at is always serving. Hey, randomly, guys, I'm telling you, he'll be out on a walk, video, I see this face. Hey, brother, just thinking about you. Is there anything I can do? But it's not generic either. Like, please tell me something I can do to help you, to serve you right now.
Rule number 2, adjust your identity thermostat.
Your identity, it's like a thermostat. I'm in a room right now and the temperature's set on the wall. Your identity is the thoughts, beliefs, and concepts you hold to be true about yourself. This temperature in this room is not based on external temperature outside. It's not the external things in our life that bring us bliss, joy, and abundance. It's our internal identity, and it sets the temperature of our life. So if your identity is 70 degrees of money, 70 degrees of happiness, that's what you're going to get. And if you can alter that thermostat setting, it doesn't matter how cold it is outside or how warm it is outside, that regulates the temperature of your life. And that's through your associations, your collaborations, and the things you read and listen to in your proximity. So if you can change that thermostat setting while you're working right now, while you're waiting to go back out, when you get back out there, you'll have a different level of abundance, bliss, happiness, relationships, all of it. Alter that thermostat setting through what you're reading, listening to, and who you're hanging around talking to also right now.
Rule number 3, write your own script.
The model for me is that I am about maxing out in my life, but the model for me is that I've learned from the mistakes that I've made, and that it sounds as hokey as you can be, I'm trying to get better. Every single day, every decision I make, I just want to get better because you know what? I don't compete with other people. I don't compare myself to other people. This is my life, right? And so the model for me is this, and I just want to say this to everybody. There's probably a point in your life where you were given a script of who you were supposed to be, whether it's your parents or your friends or your spouse. And we live too often in our lives some other person's script, right? Someone else's script. Remember this, you're the lead character in the story of your life, and the person who controls that script is you and your God. And at any point, you can decide to step into a new chapter. You can step in to be a whole new leading character. And too often, at the end of a movie, at the end of a movie, there's the credits. Yeah. It's like leading character, leading woman. But if you watch long enough, eventually you get down there, it's like cab driver number 2, trucker number 3. They don't even have names at the end of the movie, right? Most people live their life worrying about what cab driver number 2, bouncer number 3, instead of your life is about those leading characters, those 5 or 6 or 8 people around you that you love. So my model is I live my own script. My model is I control that script. Me and God, I can write a new chapter. I could right now, you get off this podcast, you could decide to step out into a whole new character. Maybe not dramatic, maybe you're just a little bit more confident woman, a little stronger, a little bit more dedicated to your focus, a little bit more focused on keeping the promises you make yourself. You just start stepping into that new place. And for me, I write new chapters every year. I'm not interested in reading the past chapters. My past chapters are either are stories I've made up in my mind about how great I was, or big failure stories we repeat to ourselves. I'm about the new chapter right now, not even the future. Right now, writing that new chapter. That's my model, is I control the script, and I know I control the script with God's blessing.
Rule number 4, don't forget small, great things.
One of the things that you do, and I want to remind everybody of something. Lewis's show's called The School of Greatness, and it's easy to forget, and maybe no one's told you in a while, but you were born to do something great with your life. And that's easy to forget when you're going, I'm in scarcity mode. I need to survive. I mean, that sounds great, Ed, but like, you don't understand. I'm unemployed. I've got rent that I'm going to have to start paying again. I understand that. And I'm saying one of the pathways out is you remind yourself, I was born to do something great in big ways and small ways. And some of the smallest great things you will ever do in your life are the most important, not the big ones, not the, I had Kobe Bryant on my show, or I just spoke to 5,000 people, or I made $100,000 on a sale. I'm talking about the small things that maybe only you and that other person know about. You and I both just had, sometimes our guests overlap, and I love how we approach the interviews different too. We both just had Nick Vujicic on our shows in the last 4, 5, 6 weeks. And he's spoken in, 75 countries, millions of people. He was born with no arms and no legs. He's a friend of both of ours. And it started because a janitor at his school nudged him, a janitor at his school, and said, hey, I think you'd be a great speaker, a great motivator to people. Now, that man that helped him, that was a small act of greatness. He maxed out that day with that person, and he made a difference in the history of mankind. This man spoke to millions of people, saved people from suicide, inspired them. For me, and my original business was a financial business. Well, the man who got me involved in that business was never financially very successful, but I was in college. He said, I think you'd be great. And I wasn't interested in Lewis. He'd write me a letter every month. I still believe in you. I think you'd be amazing. Wow. I think you'd be, and I get these handwritten letters every month, little acts of greatness. Well, because of that, I've been able to reach millions and millions of people. You would say, well, Ed Mylett's done some pretty great things. Really? Well, what about Steve Adams, who wrote me all those letters, who got me into entrepreneurship? What if you were that person to curate, in Lewis's words, to collaborate? Who could you connect? How resourceful could you be right now in connecting other people? Man, you start doing that, this helpless feeling goes away. This self-confidence begins to emerge. And you ironically start to create some momentum from this place of stagnation right now.
I love the book by my brother Evan Carmichael, Built to Serve You Guys. This is the kind of thing you get in this book. Most people wake up and drive to a job they hate. Think about your 5 closest friends. Are they happy? Do they live their lives with purpose? Do you? We put on a fake front for what we want people to see and think about us, but the reality is most people aren't happy. We're lost. We settle. You can't be happy if you don't know your purpose. And then he goes on to explain how to do that. You guys should get this book, Built to Serve, by my dear friend Evan Carmichael.
Rule number 5, find your interrupt pattern.
Worrying does not take away tomorrow's problems. It takes away today's peace. And I can tell you that one of the things I do, we all have patterns. And one of my patterns is I'm a worrier. I tend to worry just like many of you do. So I'm intentional. When you have an awareness of something, it loses its power and impact over you. So when I begin to worry, I am aware of it and I go, I'm doing it again. I'm doing it again. It almost becomes almost like a comedy routine for me because I realize this pattern that I'm in. So I do what I call a pattern interrupt, which is awareness of this dumb thought, projecting into the future, things that probably won't happen, that don't serve me. And I always focus on getting present. What can I do right now to bring myself peace, to bring myself joy, to bring myself strength? Who do I need to talk to? Who do I need to reach out to? How do I need to move my body differently? Oftentimes, if you're moving your body, even if it's jumping jacks or a walk or anything you do, you can't simultaneously be in a peak state physically and be in a negative state emotionally. And so I'm always checking my physiology and moving my body. It's one way to shift right out of worry and into something more productive.
Rule number 6, don't chase the perfect work-life balance.
What have you guys found is your thing that kind of allows you to balance the two? Like what's the groove you figured out along the way to at least make the best of balancing the two of life and business?
Well, for me, to be honest with you, I don't have balance. I mean, I don't seek it, and nor do I have it, to be candid with you. I mean, at any given time, there's certain areas of my life that are spiking compared to other ones, and I think just the people around me know that there's going to be times where I'm going to have an abundance of time with my family. There's going to be times where, I'm just going nuts with work or whatever it is in my life. So I don't really have balance. I don't seek it. I think balance is boring. And I think people that have a ton of balance probably aren't achieving a whole lot or accomplishing a lot or loving a lot. Like, I like a little drama. I like a little intensity. I like stress. And so I'm not even really after that. So I think people that are seeking that are seeking something, at least for me, I don't know how GC feels about it, but for me, it's not something I want, nor do I know that perfect balance exists for anybody. I mean, I think you're probably pretty balanced when you're dead, but you know, when I'm living and I'm alive, there's just different areas of my life at any given time that demand more of my time or that I'm demanding more of my time in. And so, at least for me, I don't have it.
Have you tried to, like in your career, like tried to have it and then figured, like forget this, it's not working? Or
it's not that I'm not aware when I need to invest time in something that I haven't been. It's not that I'm not aware of that. It's just I'm not under the illusion that I'm going to get to a perfect balanced state.
Gotcha.
Because I've lived long enough in, I guess what you'd probably call some kind of controlled chaos. I enjoy variety. I like uncertainty. I like not everything being the same every single day. You know, I get asked a lot about routines and things like that. I'm a very regimented, very routine person, yet I hope there's different things in my day, different variables, different things every single day. So I think if someone's seeking balance, they're probably chasing the wrong thing, at least for me. That's not what I want. I don't want to be bored. I don't want to know what every day is going to be like. And I like that life calls me to different places and it demands me to be great in one place over another at any given time.
Rule number 7, chase fear.
Early 20s, I went to a Tony Robbins seminar. And he used to do these things where he'd cure phobias. And so one of the phobias that day was public speaking. And my little team I was in, Eddie. And we get called up on the stage. He made you give a speech. So like 30 of us get up there and give a speech. And it was just terrifying. I literally almost peed myself. Like I was going to pass out. I was going blank, like in and out of consciousness almost. And then I talked and like, wow. When I was done, at the intermission, they said, Tony would like to talk to you. And I walked backstage and he goes, I've not said this before. He goes, I think you might be the most gifted speaker I've ever seen. Please pursue this. And I was like, what? He goes, I'm just telling you, please pursue it. 2 years later, I was on stage touring with him.
Really?
And I think the lesson in that for me was, man, like sometimes on the other side of massive fear, this isn't a saying either. I mean this. Sometimes on the other side of massive fear is your great gift.
Oh, I love that.
Or a great rewarding. And like I stumbled into this because I conquered this monster fear. It's almost like that fear is the barrier to get to your greatness.
Yeah.
And once that went away, and I've had that example happen in a few other things in my life too. So like I kind of chase fear now. I hate it.
Yeah.
But I chase fear because there's always a gift on the other side. It could be a gift of a reward, but it also could be a gift about you didn't know you possessed.
Yeah.
And so something I'm addicted to doing now, but that was probably the first example in my life I went, this is changing now.
Rule number 8, control the questions.
When you look at someone who you might think is successful like Lewis or myself, remember it wasn't that long ago that we were right where you are, is there any money in the ATM when we go there, worried about, being able to eat. It's not, we've both been broke a lot longer than we've been not broke. And so it wasn't that long ago for either one of us. And we both have friends and family that are struggling as well. So I'm really sensitive to that. And I've been prayerful and, I've done everything I can from that standpoint, trying to serve like you and I are going live right now. So I don't mean to minimize any of that, but some good news. I have some friends, and so do you, that have been on both our shows that are pretty well politically connected on both sides. And I will share with everybody that as of this morning, I've been hearing more optimism than I have in a long time from them, that perhaps there's some light coming in terms of being able to get back to work in a modified way. Maybe in the beginning of May, maybe middle of May, depending upon where you live. And I think that's exciting news. I just watched Governor Cuomo's press conference. He was even talking about those things. And so, I think there's some light potentially at the end of the tunnel. That doesn't mean more dark times aren't ahead. Who knows in the fall if there's a resurgence or something like that. But I definitely think that there's a resurgence. There's something positive coming. One of the things I'm most excited about, everybody, I must tell you, is how I've seen so many people pull together. One cool thing about this, because you're always asking yourself, how's this happening for me, not to me? What can I learn from this? If you could just control the quality of the questions. Because what's thinking? Thinking is asking and answering questions to yourself. So if you can control the questions, you can control the thinking, right? We lose control of our thoughts when we lose control of the questions we ask ourselves. So I'm always, every day, what's it teaching me today? What can I learn from it?
Rule number 9, save money.
The thing that scares me the most is seeing people who don't save money. It blows my mind. I rarely do it anymore, but when we go to the mall on the weekend and I'm watching people walking out of there with 6, 7 bags, and I'm thinking, my God, like, you don't need all this stuff. Wouldn't that be cool to put that $200 a month away in savings someday for your children's college, someday for your retirement, someday to buy your dream house? The best thing of living here, of living at the ocean or having a jet or other material things I have, is I own them all. there's no mortgage on this home. There's no mortgage on my Idaho place. There's no mortgage on my jet. There's no debt on any of my cars. Now, it hasn't always been that way, but the way I got there was by saving a bunch of money when all my buddies were blowing theirs on stuff to impress other people that gets dated anyways, right? And so stuff you buy that you think will impress other people is really only cool for the first or second time you wear it or use it anyways.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is invest in yourself.
My dad said to me, the best investment you're ever going to make is going to be in yourself. And right when he said it, I knew it was true. I didn't debate it. I knew he was right. My dad's my best friend to this day. He's in his 70s now, and he still tells me that. He'll still remind me of that to this day. I'm 47 years old, had a little bit of, some beginnings of some success in my life, and my dad still will remind me of that one lesson.
Now I've got a special bonus clip from Ed on how to ask for advice from the right people that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what is the fear that you need to chase down? Let me know down in the comments below. And if you made it this far in the video and you promise, you commit that you're going to take action after watching it, Believe Nation, we don't just watch YouTube videos, we do something about it. If that's you, give me a hashtag Believe in the comments below, because I want to celebrate you.
I've been given a ton of bad advice. And I'll tell you, and when I've taken it, here's the mistake I've made. It's taken advice from people who aren't successful in the area you're asking the advice in. In other words, it's just because someone's really successful financially doesn't mean you should be taking advice from them how to get in shape. Or if someone's really great in their family, they're a wonderful parent, right? Or great in their faith, doesn't mean you should be taking advice on how to get successful in business. And I watch people all the time get their dreams stolen, their vision stolen, their hope stolen, because they solicit advice from somebody who's not successful in that area. And so I've learned, if I were at a gym and I were gonna have a trainer, I don't understand trainers who aren't super fit. Like, why would I let you train me on how to get in great shape?
Right, yeah.
And you're not even in shape yourself. You're not even a walking, living embodiment or example of this stuff. So how are you going to transfer to me something that you're not experiencing yourself? That's impossible. You can't transfer to me something that you are not experiencing yourself. Yet people take advice all the time from people who aren't even experiencing success in that area. In business, why would you take lifetime business advice from someone who's not even successful in that endeavor themselves, but people do it all the time.
Or that sounds good and doesn't have a business.
Doesn't even have a business.
Like me and him we have this conversation all the time about,
right.
And no offense to, I got buddies that figured out how to run a business with one person, but that's not a business.
Not a business.
Nobody's going to buy it.
Right.
It has no value. It produces money, might be a lifestyle, but that's not a business. So again, what Ed's saying is you got to look, people need to study the source of the data they're getting, particularly now, today with data can come everywhere. Like, people have too many mentors today.
Yes.
I need a mentor. No, but bro, you need to get rid of mentors. Everyone is a mentor.
Right.
You're getting advice from your brother, your cousin, the tabloids. Like, what data is real and what's not? Most of the data is wrong because it's not coming from a source of experience, and that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I think that's also true, and I don't mean this with any disrespect to anybody, but social media's got a lot of great strengths.
Right.
One of the real weaknesses is that you're really getting advice often from people who sound really good on their 19th take on the video they've made.
Right, right.
But if you were to look behind the scenes, what kind of a company do they run? What kind of a life do they have? What kind of net worth do they have? And you gotta be really careful. I mean, they may sound good, you may like them, their videos may be really appealing, but what have they actually produced outside of telling you how to do something that they have not done themselves?
If you want to see the top 10 I did on Jay Shetty, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
We're being built for a job, or we're being built to be in a box.
Right.
We're being built so that we fit into society. And I find it funny, right?